Hey y'all, how's it going? Railroad Captain back here again today, and I'm gonna show y'all Evelyn now that I've got the detailing done. And my grandfather had a 1949 Harley Panhead Hydroglide, and it was very similar to this bike right here, green. And of course, it was way before I was ever thought of, you know. I never did see it, but I definitely heard a whole lot of stories about it over the years and how things he'd done with it, and like his pride and joy, and his brothers that used to take off on it and all that good stuff. So back before he died, I come across a 2013 Softail Deluxe. The custom candy paint for that year was this green. That's the first time I'd seen anything in years, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna build me a bike and have it a homage to my grandpa and to his 49. So what I came up with, I actually found a completely all stock. It was less than 2 years old. It only had about 1,300 miles on it, and I ended up going to Daytona Beach, Florida, to a motorsports place down there. And like I said, it was completely stock, and got it. And you know, he would tell me, you know, mine had this and mine had that. So I done all of this up and actually finished it up to look like this before he passed. And I even got to take him a ride on it before he got to work, while he was still able to get out a little bit. And he absolutely loved this bike. And I remember when I brought it in, he says, where did you find a new Hydroglide? Said it's even got the exact same tail light mine had on it, you know, because of the tombstone tail lights here. So anyways, here is, we picked the name Evelyn. Kind of an older sounding, very cool name for a woman. And I always try to detail these bikes at least once a year, and really before you ever get them out, because once you get them out, you're going to mess around and probably never do it. It's a pain in the butt. It takes hours, but you know, at least that way they last. My 01 Sporty over here I bought new, and a friend of mine came by here the other day, and he was looking at it, and he goes, how old is that bike? I said, it'll be 25 next year, and I can start putting antique tags on it. And he was like, wow, it doesn't look like it's ever been rode. I'm like, well, I appreciate that. I try to take care of my stuff. I haven't got the Dinah detailed yet this year, but I definitely got to get her done too. But I wanted to show off Evelyn now that she has been finally finished detailing her. She's ready to get out. Battery's charged. Everything's back together. Everything's ready to go. And of course, the Softail Deluxe, you know, they come from the factory, the old school look and the white wall tires and stuff. And if you remember back, especially in the 50s, and when they first came out with what they called the bubble bags, and I got reproductions of those. And you remember they all had the white matching, a lot of them had white matching seats. You see a lot of pictures of Elvis back in the day with his white seats and his white saddlebags, and everything matched up. And you know, my grandpa, he said, oh, I had the toolbox on mine. Make sure you get a toolbox. And I got that. And I had the rear crash bars on mine. Don't forget to get those. And, you know, so I got that. But I've done a whole lot of other stuff, too. I love the old, the bullet lights on them here, kind of like the old, was it 55, 56 pickup trucks even had the lights on them like that back then. I always had a lot of those. The 56 Chevy cars had the tail lights like this on the back too, and I love stuff like that. Matched up with the white grips, but I mean, just the little stuff, the round mirrors they had back then was changed. Before they came out with these more modern style grip here on your levers, they didn't have those balls on them back then, the knobs kind of deal. So I found an old school set looking like this. Actually replaced the handlebars to be almost the exact look here of, you know, the stock sort of Hydroglide and later dual glide looks. Of course, the white grips matched them up here, but the angles and everything, and even the risers, I found a set of aftermarket risers that really matched up, and they are so comfortable. They sit just perfect for this bike. I mean, just very comfortable. Now, I went with the 59 and 60 Panhead emblems. The 49s, you know, like on the picture over there, they were really long and slender, and they would have got back into the pinstripe, which they didn't have on those back then. But I thought that really matched up the Deltas. You know, everything had that the rockets going to the moon and all that look, you know, back in, you know, 50s and 60s. So that was kind of just something a lot of them did back in the day. I found an original set of Panhead seat emblems to go on. That's actually the stock seat for this bike. And I had the guy that done my, of course, he done this one first, and later he done the seat of my truck. Y'all have probably seen that on there. And I mean, just done that boy is great. He done an amazing job. I love that seat. It matched up so well with everything. It's so comfortable. I found the old school rail to put on here to go with that. Of course, the round breathers that they all had those back in the day. And even, you know, I love little details. Here's the little emblem, you know, for the oil pan here that you would see on a lot of those, and got it on there. Kind of matched it up with everything too. The True Duals, those were Vance and Hines. They got a great sound to them. Got the fishtail tips on the back to match all that up. Of course, like I said before, the Tombstone tail lights. And I always joke about Evelyn having a tramp stamp because she had the factory paint. That come from the factory like that on that. I'm probably missing something. Oh, I went back over. I always thought that was odd that the Heritage come out with them, but the Deluxes didn't, when they were supposed to be the more retro looking bike. But I actually changed out the squared off instrument panel here in this whole piece and put on the one that looks like that more old school that they called them the cat's eye dash back then. So I changed all of this out and changed it out, put my steering speedometer back in it and whatnot, and got all that, you know, looking like the old school look more with that. And you know, you had your little covers out over your headlights on a lot of stuff like that. And of course, you know, got crash bars and you know, basically everything they could do. Now, one thing I looked up, and I looked for 2 or 3 years and just happened to look up, it must have been something that was a really rare thing that they came out with after Margaret, and then nobody didn't go over. So how I looked up and even found it, but a lot of your Panheads had this old derby bird cover here, and couldn't find anything that bolted up, nothing that worked. And I was like, this is never gonna work. And I ran across something that was made, I don't even know when that was made, years and years ago, but it was like a new old stock item. And it actually came with the adapter kit. Of course, you had to put an extra gasket in, you know, so it wouldn't leak and whatnot. But it matched up so well, and that really set that look off of that now to give it that look. And you know, it's just everything about it. I've had so many great compliments, and I absolutely love that bike. My grandpa loved it, and you know, I pulled it in behind his hearse up there the day of his funeral, and you know, I told them guys, I said, nobody gets between this bike and this hearse. And he's like, you got it. And so, you know, that was a really good ride that day. So I followed it to the graveyard. But it's, you know, that's my baby. That's Evelyn. And, you know, it really does help your bikes a lot. I know they're a pain in the butt, y'all. But if you can do a detail job on one, and at least once a year, mainly before you get it out, go over every little thing on it, the chrome polish and the paint and every little crack and crevice, and man, they'll last you. They'll last you a long time. You don't get out here and act like a nut on them, and you know, be safe. And you know, God forbid, I've had a couple of close calls. You know, things happen and whatnot, and you just gotta be safe and go from there and enjoy the ride. And you know, but there's nothing quite like it, that's for sure. But it just it tickles me to death the way that how it's received when I'm out, you know, especially being such a rare color, and it's got the huge flake in it. It really shines when you're outside in the sun. And I mean, I've been places and they're like, oh my goodness, and then people have recognized me in another state. I was in a magazine once, and they were like, that's the guy that was from Kentucky on the green bike. And it means so much when you're out and doing things like that. So you know, I've also got the extra, you know, I've got back seats for it. I've even got a backrest for me and the quick detach on that. Went to the ocean one year on it. I've got a little smaller size backrest and travel pack here. And, you know, it's ugly as sin, but it just takes a second, snap on, snap off. And, you know, you get to the motel somewhere, whatever, you want to take it off or whatever. But it's handy. It's been the handiest thing ever. And, you know, she's definitely just got that look. I've had a couple of compliments before and had people come across the, had people come across the parking lot that wasn't up real close, you know, and be like, man, I love that Panhead over. It looks great. And I'm like, oh, man, you made my day. And then they get up and look at the motor and like, hey, wait a minute. And I'm like, no, you already give me the compliment now, buddy. But, you know, it's something else. And it's, you know, it was inspired by my grandpa and by his. So I thought I'd show y'all Evelyn here since I finally got her cleaned up. And I just tell you, I am ready. I'm ready for summer. I'm ready to do some riding. I'm ready to get out this year. And, you know, it's time. It's time to ride. It's time to enjoy stuff. I've been quite the hermit, you know, the last few years since I got divorced. And I wasted enough of my life being a hermit. It's time to get out and enjoy things. So that's what's going to happen. So you all get out and enjoy things too and be safe, no matter what it is, bikes or trucks, or you like trains like I do on my other videos and you're out with them. Always be safe when you're out and about, and watch out for yourself and everybody else. So thank y'all for checking things out. And you can always subscribe if you hadn't. Give me a like, share, or any of that good stuff, or drop me a comment. So, all right, y'all, let's saddle up. Let's take a ride. Thanks a lot.